Hello, welcome to next Bible study. My laptop's playing up again and didn't look very good, so I've just temporarily moved to this machine. Hopefully this will go all right. We're continuing in our Bible study in John's Gospel. Just to make you aware, I'm going to be taking a break for the next week, so that there won't be anything coming out on Thursday or Tuesday and Thursday next week. So we'll be back again at the beginning of August to complete our Bible studies on John's Gospel. So, yeah, we're very close to the end of John's Gospel, having now moved into chapter 19. We're at that time around the cross and Jesus' death and resurrection. We did a little bit of an overview last week. Just want to pick up on a little bit more here. Again, I'm not so much looking to capture the gruesome detail of what's going on. I just want us to be able to get a little bit of insight into the revelation that's going on at the same time. So we'll pick up in verse 28, and it says, later knowing that everything had been finished. Isn't that an amazing statement even on its own, that Jesus knew that he had fulfilled everything on earth that he needed to fulfill, and that he was now stepping through the pain of the cross. It says he endured its shame. The sin of the world was taken on him, that he was the sacrificial lamb, all sorts of images. And yet at this point he knew it was finished, and it says this so that scripture would be fulfilled. Even at this moment, the level of control, if you like, and the level of self-control that Jesus is demonstrating is absolutely extraordinary. He knew everything had been finished, but now he's making sure the last bits of scripture are finished. And he says, I'm thirsty. That would have been a known thing even in this process of crucifixion, that Jesus, or anybody that was being crucified, would come to that place of thirst. He says, I'm thirsty. And it says a jar of vinegar wine was there. Now, that was a strange thing that they used to give. It was a little bit of a sedative, really. And it was a strange drink, but it was put on hyssop. Now, hyssop would have been something that was used in the Passover. It was used to spread the blood over the doorpost. So that was a familiar faith thing that was used. So it was lifted to Jesus' lips, and it just says he received the drink and he said it's finished. He made that declaration. He knew it was finished. Now he declares it's finished. It says with that he bowed his head and gave up his spirit. I think that's just extraordinary, that on its own, that this was the moment that had been determined by the Father, by Jesus, that the work of the cross would be finished. That part was finished. There's still more to come. This isn't the end of the story, but he'd done what was needed to be the sacrificial lamb. It says the next day was a day of preparation. It was a day of preparation. The next day was to be a special Sabbath. Now this is, to me, the challenge in it all, really. You've got the Jewish leaders who, it's like they're trying not to be to blame for what they're doing. They're trying to be a little step away from it, yet they were fully involved with it. And it says they didn't want the bodies left there on the cross during the Sabbath, so they said to Pilate, right, we want to finish this quickly. Can you break the legs and have the bodies taken down? But why did they say that? Because they knew the moment the legs were broken, the weight of the body meant, sadly, the person would die. It says, so the soldiers, they came to do that, but when they came to Jesus, they looked and they found that he'd already died. I think there would have been a shock and a surprise there. So they didn't need to break his legs. And then it says they pierced his side. And this was testified about. And again, even in this, there's a fulfillment of scripture. That not one of his bones will be broken. Yeah, you got to look at that. His body was totally smashed up. Yeah, there was something in the core, the structure, the deepest place in him. His bones weren't broken. The same way, his body was broken. Yet, and he died. Yet, his spirit couldn't be killed. It wasn't killed. And another scripture it says, look, they looked at the one they'd pierced. There's a whole load of activity here that goes on, and Pilate gives permission that the bodies could be taken. And this included disciples. There was a disciple, Joseph, that was afraid of the Jews. There was Nicodemus, who visited Jesus in the night, and they made an amazing job. It says Nicodemus bought myrrh and aloes, about £75. He lavished at this point out of what he had, and I think even that is probably significant. The Nicodemus, what was his issue? His issue was wealth, but now he's spending his wealth. I haven't looked up what that mix would have cost, but he's spending his wealth. It's like the journey's taken him some time, but he's there. He's there at this moment, preparing Jesus' body. It says the body was prepared in all the customs and placed in a new tomb that no one had ever been. And it says it was the day of preparation. Now we got something that just carries on here, and I'm going to pick up in verse 20, just the first little bit. You got the first day of the week. It says it was very dark. It was still dark. Mary Magdalene went to the tomb. And what did she find? On the first day of the week after the festival, this is the day of resurrection. She found that the stone had been removed. Things had changed. It's like, you could imagine that the first feeling was that people had come along and stolen his body. All sorts of things had gone through her mind. And she went and found Simon Peter and the other disciple, the one Jesus loved, probably John. And they said that they'd taken the Lord out of the tomb, and we don't know where they put him. What a declaration on earth. At that point, they didn't know. They didn't understand what was going on. And it says, so what happened? Peter and the other disciple, it says they ran to the tomb. They both ran. Peter, there was an energy in Peter. It says he arrived there first. And you can imagine that. Peter, he'd hung in there, then had that, crashing and crushing moment where he denied Jesus. And yet, here he is. He's first there. There's something stirring in his heart. There's something going on in him. It says he bent over and looked at the strips of linen lying there, but didn't go in. And it says both were running. So it said the other disciple outrun Peter. I got that the wrong way around. And he looked, but Peter, it says he went right in. And he went into the tomb and he saw everything there. And the cloth that had been wrapped around Jesus' head, the cloth was still in place, separate from the linen. And the other disciple, he went in. It says they saw and they believed. But they still did not know and did not understand the scripture that Jesus had been raised from the dead. You think they knew something was going on. They'd been caught in their heart. And they believed. I look back to when I became Christian and think, what did I actually know at that point? I knew that I needed God and God existed. Beyond that, I didn't have any understanding of the Bible. I didn't really know much about God in any way whatsoever. But I believed. And that was the start of my journey. And I think here we've got to understand that it says they may not have understood the scriptures. They may not have understood that Jesus raised from the dead, but they believed. They knew something had happened. And sometimes we can place so much emphasis on what you know. But actually it's about who you know. So, right, I'm going to stop there. Bless you. Thank you for being with me. As I said, there won't be a Bible study Thursday or next week, and I will recommence at the beginning of August on the Tuesday. So bless you. Have a good few weeks, a good week, and look forward to being with you soon. Bye for now.